Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. Welcome to this Tour de France Stage 14 preview. Yes, it's going to be a massive day for the race, for the polka dot jersey. Before we get into that, though, let's just have a look at how Stage 13 fared. It was a 10.9 kilometer individual time trial. The last 8Ks, though, at 7.9%. No surprises. He was a massive favourite for the stage. Tadej Pogačar took away the win by 36 seconds over Vingegaard, who I must say rode a brilliant ride. After yesterday, after the previous stage, I thought he might be a bit down on himself, but he actually did an incredible ride. And in most years, this would have been a winning performance, but Pogačar just in a different class at the moment. Good to see Primož Roglič showing some good form. He finished 1 minute 20 behind Lipovitz, and Roglič were going almost together as far as time goes, but Lipovitz faded over the final stretch. Some good performance. Luke Plupp, very impressive indeed. He was in the hot seat for quite some time. Jorgensen showed his legs are not totally shot. And then just going further down there, Remco Evenepoel, unfortunately, a poor day for him. He finished 2:39 back, and it's going to take a big recovery from him if he's going to hang on to that podium position. Having a look at the yellow jersey standings, Pogačar's now got a 4 minute and 7 second lead over Vingegaard. Just two riders changing positions there, only going up ahead of Vakulin, who struggled in the second half of the time trial. Outright betting, no surprises there, 1 to 20 Pogačar. Right, onto the green jersey race, and here Pogačar's pulled within 28 points of Milan, of course, after winning the stage. Van der Poel a further 30 points back. We got 1 to 3 Jonathan Milan, Pogačar at 7 to 2, and at 13 to 2 Mathieu van der Poel. And we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get into the route, because there is, of course, a green jersey sprint that comes round about the middle of the stage. Looking at the King of the Mountains, Pogačar's, he was already in the polka dot jersey, but he's 10 points today and shows he's got a fairly healthy lead there over Lenny Martinez, who rode a pretty good stage today. I think he finished 9th in the time trial, which was quite impressive. And Vingegaard has now moved up to 27 points in third place on the King of the Mountains. Let's have a look now at the betting. We got just over 7 to 20 Pogačar, 7 to 1 Woods, 14 to 1 Martinez and Schelmoser, with Vingegaard at 16 to 1. Ben Healy, he's at 25 to 1. A reminder, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and also give us a like. It really does help our ratings. Right, let's get into stage 14. It's a brute of a stage, but it doesn't start that badly, does it? I mean, we've got fairly flat roads, certainly until the 57.5 kilometer mark there, where it looks like things go gradually up, or maybe, when I say gradually, it's not a mountain pass as such, although it looks like a bit of a climb up to the sprint at 70 kilometers. Now, this is going to be interesting because the green jersey race, Pogačar's not interested in it. We know that. Milan would probably be trying to get into the break to get some green jersey points, but Van der Poel will also be doing so. And Van der Poel, if he is now targeting this jersey, he is certainly strong enough to get into the break. And in particular, if I look at the terrain that comes just before the sprint, my money would be on Van der Poel to put Milan under all sorts of pressure there. So going to be interesting to see, will Milan's team try and keep it together for 70 Ks? I don't know. It's a long way to try and, keep the break together for the green jersey. He'd probably be quite happy if a break went away and there was no Mathieu van der Poel in it. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to watch that sprint point. But then we go into the first big out-of-category climb of the day, the Col de Tourmalet. Look at that, 19 kilometers at 7.4%. It obviously tops out sort of 92 kilometers or 80, after 89 kilometers. So there's almost, 93 kilometers still to go there. So we don't expect decisive attacks, particularly now that Pogačar's, he's kind of so far ahead now, it almost doesn't make too much sense to get too aggressive. They'll obviously be racing for other spots on the podium. The question is at this stage, what sort of break would have gone clear and who's chasing the break? So in terms of who we're going to see in the break tomorrow, one way or another, we're going to see the King of the Mountains, the guys who are chasing the points, Michael Woods, Schelmoser, Michael Storer. I'll be very surprised if all of them aren't in the break. And we'll soon see who's got the legs up the Col de Tourmalet. Whether that break gets given a lot of leeway or not, well, it'll depend on a couple of things, one of which is UAE. Do they fancy the stage for Pogačar? Certainly if they rode hard and brought everyone together, and you'd have to think he's going to take the stage. But, it's still a long way to go in this tour. He doesn't have to do anything really risky now. And UAE might take more of a back seat, leading the peloton, but but not really chasing the break down. But there's a few other things that could play into the break struggling here, in my opinion. One of them is Remco Evenepoel. He didn't look good in the time trial. And you got to think that those other teams that are targeting a podium, and I'm thinking particularly here of Bora Hansgrohe, that they are going to make this race pretty hard. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of their guys come to the front on the Tourmaline and start making things tough. And if that's the case, I think the break is going to struggle no matter at what point it leaves on the stage. After the Tourmaline, we go to a Cat 2 climb, the Col d'Aspin, 5 kilometers at 7.6%. Then it's the Parachute. These are all climbs we do very often in the Tour de France, 7.1 kilometers at 7.8%. And the final climb, 12.4 kilometers at 7.3%. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Pogačar, you'll see now, is the firm favorite. I do think that there's a good chance this comes back together for a classification battle, even though I don't necessarily think that it's UAE that do the chasing. Still, if you get to that position, I can't see Pogačar turning down the shot at another stage win. Let's have a look at the betting. A reminder that World Sports Betting will got their money back for second place promo. It comes in the form of free bets. I've had to use it once on this tour so far, and I must admit the money was put under the free bets section there within minutes of my email being sent. Right, Pogačar, 11 to 10 favorite. Vingegaard, 7 to 1. Lipowitz, he's 16s. You've got Sepp Kuss at 18 to 1. Obviously, the thinking there is that Visma are definitely going to look to put some riders in the break. And I don't think that UAE will be as bothered about it as they might have been early on in the tour with Pogačar having such a big lead. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of the UAE guys in the break as well. Just a question perhaps of who that would be. But definitely we're going to see some Visma there. And Kuss, good chance he'll be in the break. Schelmoser, he's going to be in the break. I'm pretty sure about that. Where was Michael Woods? How did I miss him? I'm sure he must be in the... I think this must be an error on the betting. I've definitely seen him in some of the other betting. And there he is, 40 to 1 right at the bottom. I'm a little bit surprised about that. He's got a very good record in the Tour de France, up sort of steepish climbs. And he looked pretty good to me the other day as well. I think it was in stage 12. Right, let's have a look at my two bets. Well, I'm going to be boring here. I'm sticking with Pogačar. I'm not convinced it's going to be a GC finish, but if it is, I can't really look past him. 11 to 10 World Sports Betting. We got that insurance for second place. Not that I necessarily think someone's going to sort of break away and destroy him on the climb, but you never know. The breakaway could have just one rider left at the end, and Pogačar could get second. Or, someone could potentially, if Pogačar and Vingegaard are not in too aggressive mode, someone could possibly go ahead. And that's my second bet. I'm going for Roglic there at 40 to 1. Now, Roglic hasn't shown a hell of a lot in the tour so far, but he certainly looked a lot better on the individual time trial. And he is the sort of rider that if he does make a break at some point on that final climb, if the GC boys are fighting it out, others may well look at each other and give him a bit of leeway. There's a reason he's 40 to 1, though. He certainly he hasn't shown anything to really indicate he'll win this. And my main bet is on Pogačar. It's going to be a great stage for a Saturday, very different from last week's Saturday, I can tell you. Sunday stage looks like a one potentially for the breakaway. It's going to be quite hard to control, but it's certainly nothing near as tough as Saturday stage. We'll see you for that, though, on Saturday night or the early hours of Sunday morning. Until then, enjoy the stage. And if you haven't checked out the rugby previews on Good for the Game, log on to www.goodforthegame.co.za.